Hello and welcome to episode 75 of the Book Wars pod. Wow, I didn't realize we were at 75. We should do something special for that.
Nah, wait till we get to like 100 and then maybe.
I mean, yeah, sure.
We will actually do that video that we scrapped because we were so fucking depressed.
Nope.
And it was broken.
Nope. The video's dead and buried.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Never mind.
Maybe.
Jesus.
All
also,
bonus
like,
episodes and
disappeared.
videos are dead and buried.
Also, like, disappeared into the ether, so.
Well, yes.
Yeah, literally don't even know where it is if we wanted to.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Nobody has it. Nobody has it at this point except the Force and Facebook.
Nice.
Good one, Dad.
Thanks, Kristen. It's probably the one terrible joke I'm going to come up with today because I'm still sick. Anyway, it's episode 75.
We should also mention that it is 5:30 Eastern time. On a Wednesday, so this is gonna be weird.
Yeah, it's a weird time. Kate and I have been sick for the last, Kate for a day, me for a lifetime.
Nice.
But we're gonna power through, much like Thrawn powers through Anakin's fucking idiocy.
Oh my god.
Oh my fucking god.
Anyway, so we are finishing up Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn in this episode. Read chapter 14 through to the end. And I think, the first thing to talk about here...
Wait, you didn't ask if people were drinking.
Oh, I didn't. What are people drinking? Keeks?
Sparkling water.
Nice.
I would love sparkling water. I'm drinking regular water and tea.
Yes.
Good job, Chris. What kind of tea?
Earl Grey.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are you drinking, Kate?
I'm also drinking Earl Grey. I'm trying to convince Chris to stick to the... What the fuck do they call that? Like when you have food poisoning and you only eat bread and whatever.
The rice diet.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So...
But rice stands for something. It's not just rice.
Right. I can't remember what it is. But he has decided to go rogue, as he always does when I give him advice about what to eat when he has food poisoning, because when I was a kid...
No, not the rice diet. Rice is what you do for a sprain.
Oh, my bad. Let me eat...
Sorry.
Ankles.
Rice is rest, ice, rest, ice, compression, and elevation. Not for food poisoning.
Well, he's definitely not doing that, so... y'all know what I mean, though. So, I when I was a kid, I had a fucking stomach bug every, month of my life. And so I was very well acquainted with you can only eat plain pasta and whatever the fuck else. And, of course, we had plenty of rice in the house because Asian. So I've been telling...
It's
Shut
the
up,
brat
Chris.
diet.
Thank you. I thought it was something like that. I don't know. Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say bread diet, but that sounded like it had too many letters, so brat makes more sense.
I mean, it is kind of a bread diet.
I mean, I know. But the name of it, I was like, there's no way it has 5 letters.
No.
It's far too involved.
People are too stupid to remember that. But so I've been telling you to what you can and cannot eat, and you've decided to go rogue like you always do and prolong your suffering with your liquidy poops by fucking eating whatever you want. So this guy is eating pasta, which would be fine if it weren't fucking swimming in butter sauce.
Chris.
When was this? Yesterday?
Mm-hmm. Or the day before.
No, okay, this was the day before when I was already feeling better.
Yeah,
and I
but you
started
need
feeling worse again.
fucking 24 hours to be done.
Yeah,
Bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast, Chris.
There it is. You know what he ate today?
And Pedialyte. They should put it should be the brat pea diet.
Do you know what he ate today, Kristen?
Do I want to know? I'm gonna get
Parmesan.
Parmesan. What the fuck, Chris?
You know what? It was plain pasta. I put a tiny bit of Parmesan on it.
It doesn't
because
matter.
Flavor.
No. The point is to have no flavors.
Flavortown, USA. There's no Flavortown at this time.
Flavortown is all around us, Kristen.
Oh my.
Just need to know where to look.
Chris, shut up. You're white. You don't even know how to use salt. That's a lie.
Flavortown was the friends we made along the way.
Anyway, I just needed 5 to 10 minutes to fucking dunk on Chris for not listening to me as per fucking usual.
I mean, I feel fine after my lunch today. I'm just tired.
Chris, you're a shithead.
We'll see if we have to stop in the middle of this podcast.
Yeah, if we have to stop mid-podcast for Chris to go poop.
Yeah, basically.
It's poop pod again. Anyway.
Everyone loves this. If you're
Speaking
new to
of
the
poop.
podcast, welcome.
Speaking
Sorry,
of
we're
poop,
talking about poop.
let's talk
That's
about
also,
Anakin.
It's also what we talked about last episode. No,
Yeah,
2
right.
episodes ago.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, so yeah, speaking of poop, let's talk about Anakin. I feel like the first point that needs to be made is just a hearty congratulations to General Anakin Skywalker
On trashing
for,
a whole entire
yeah,
planet.
for just some casual planetary destruction between friends.
Like, I'm always joking that when I go back and rewatch the Clone Wars, which I want to very soon, I'm going to count how many ships Anakin destroys. But this is beyond, y'all.
He turns a planet into lava. A lava spew. It's spewing lava.
Yep.
And he's like, what? I know how to, like, collapse a mind.
I know.
And everybody's like, why is there a lava spew then, Anakin?
Also, like, why are you suddenly a mine demolitions expert? Like, why is this? Like, I understand that they were doing a fuck ton of mining during the war and after the war, but also, why is this like your proud area of expertise?
Oh my god.
Oh my
He
god.
doesn't know how to ask for help or directions.
Oh my god, I know. I like how, like, Padme's like, oh, it's a cortosis mine. That's why I blew up so bad. And Anakin's just like, I'm not even gonna say anything. I am a man. I will sit here and drive and not ask for directions.
I mean, my favorite thing was Thrawn being like, listen, this is gonna go really bad. Like, you're dating him. Can you just, like, stop him? Padme's like, what? Listen, everyone knows it, and I don't care. Why would I possibly care about this? Can you just talk to him?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's as if every single person doesn't know.
I know.
Like, I get that Thrawn is a cut above the average bear, but he's also known Anakin and Padme for a combined total of about 6 hours.
Yep.
Do you think she calls him Uncle Anakin in bed?
It got weird. Got weird.
I didn't make it weird. Tim Zahn made it weird.
Oh my god. I'm gonna write a fic about that. Just a crack fic.
Oh my god, please don't. But also please do.
I like where your head's at, but what if? No.
But okay, but it's just gonna be like 100 word sequel to this, where they go home and it's like anyway.
Uncle Anakin. Ugh.
God, I'm not even gonna say it. Not even gonna say it. Not even gonna say it.
Do you guys?
Anyway, moral of the story is literally everybody in the fucking galaxy knows that Anakin is married to Padme, and yet nobody thinks it's a fucking problem.
He also faps for
know.
lava, like a lot. Like, why does he love lava so much? He's such a
He
trash
really
baby.
does. He does. The Jedi loves lava.
Everybody in the cockpit when the mine explodes. Anakin, what did you do? Anakin quietly to himself. Anakin, yes.
Exactly.
God
Well,
damn
and
it.
I love how it gets like really dark. It's like, well, it's much like when he killed every single sand person. If he has an idea and he doesn't want to not do it, he's gonna do it. That's it.
Anakin,
End of
yes.
story. Anakin, yes. That's where Anakin, yes comes from. It's the birth of Anakin, yes.
Perfectly healthy relationship vibe.
Situation normal.
God.
Like, look, he may be my husband, but sometimes he just wants to do a murder, okay?
Yo, I was like, the bit where she was just like, you can't stop Anakin when he's in one of these moods. I was like, yee.
I know, that made me feel squicky, but
Yeah.
like,
Big
it's
yikes.
supposed to.
That's been mentioned in a Police Reporter 3 over the years.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, fuck.
No thank you, please.
Yeah, I know. I just
Let's talk about the Force, because I don't want to talk about
About
even though
Anakin
we're
anymore.
gonna talk about Anakin for the rest of the podcast, but also
Yeah.
let's talk about
the rest
Force.
of this is very Thrawn heavy, so.
Love my blue boyfriend.
Honestly, this book, like, may be turning Thrawn into, like, one of my top 3 favorite characters in Star Wars.
He's so
expound.
good.
He's just, like, he's so much more interesting in this book
Oh yeah,
than
totally.
he's been in anywhere else. Like, he's interesting in Rebels. I think he was kind of let down by his lack of a role in season 4 of Rebels, which, like,
Yeah.
you know, part of the story. We're gonna hear about it in Thrawn Treason. I'm not saying it's Rebel's fault. I'm saying that was a choice.
Right.
But like we get so much more actual depth to him than we've
Right.
ever gotten in the canon.
Plus, like, I mean, anybody who's like can read the first Thrawn book, like, knows that Thrawn has feelings, but they're always just very, very. He's just, he's kind of like the Jedi. Put your feelings in the little box, so like your enemy does not realize you have feelings. He like has so many emotions like towards the end of this book, and I was just like, oh god.
Yeah, he's very Vulcan for Star Trek
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah.
Where like he does have emotions. They're just like very deep down, and he chooses exactly who to punch to express them.
Yep. Correct.
Very Catholic.
Dude.
Aw.
Real.
Yeah, but he was awesome in this book. Also, this book was really good, which I know we're going to talk about more in the wrap up. But, like, what a fucking cool plot.
I know. No, it's great. I mean, I know that this book kind of came about because Zahn wanted to write a Thrawn and Anakin book, and Del Rey was like, "What if you wrote a Thrawn and Vader book?" And he's like, "I'll do both." And I was just kind of like,
Porque no los dos.
Exactly.
Lucasfilm.
"Porque no bofa." So.
Oh my fucking god.
And I was just I was curious as to how it was going to turn out, with the two very, very different time periods. But it did, like, really, really well. It's just, all the mirroring is just like, like Star Wars, calling back to itself at its best.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
Skywalker thing, like, made me cry.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
how dare you?
LOL Skywalkers, am I right? I, like, literally laughed out loud when I read that.
Okay, that's a very different reaction than Keeks had, but all right.
Yes, but I mean, I'm just like, they're small blue children.
Yeah.
I love them. And
I
they must be
know.
protected at all costs.
The purest Skywalkers.
Yes. Oh my god. Also, like, when they were rescuing the two gals who were on the ship, and they're just pointing at where they're gonna fire from.
I know.
I'm just like, that's the best. Like,
know,
I
I
don't
really-
know why that is so good, but I love it so much.
Because
really
they're
love-
playing fucking whack-a-mole with the Grisks, and
Yeah.
it's funny.
And I loved
Incredible.
Commander Kimmond just being all of us when he's just being like, I could get used to these types of battles.
I know, right?
Yeah, no shit. This is why the Jedi are like, oh, the Force.
Yes.
It's helpful
Yes.
in some circumstances, most
Yes,
circumstances.
this is how the Republic somehow like didn't just literally completely crash in on itself during the Clone War.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, it did metaphorically.
I mean, yes, but I've been rewatching a few episodes of Clone Wars, and like the biggest lesson that I've learned is how the fuck did the Republic even hold their own long enough for Sidious to get his plan in place?
Nice.
God, they were so fucked. Everything about it
Yes.
was bad.
Much like the prequels.
Much like, how has America lasted this long, TBH?
I mean, yeah, fair point. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about Force-sensitive Chiss.
Yes.
Obviously, that was the
Yay.
big reveal of this section, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
And obviously a pretty huge reveal for... I don't know if the Chiss are Force-sensitive in Legends. My understanding is that that has never been broached. But I'm not sure. But like it's a pretty huge reveal to like, because obviously like I don't think anybody like would have died on the hill of Chiss can never be Force sensitive because like I just think nobody ever really thought of it.
Yeah.
But we've certainly never encountered that before, and the way Chiss minds work combined with what they call the third sight is very interesting. Like leads itself to some very interesting possibilities.
Yeah, so there's really a few things that we learned in this section. So, aside from Force-sensitive Chiss, and, like, we'll talk in a second about how that occurs and manifests in Chiss people, and then what a little bit of the Chiss belief surrounding that. But the other thing we learn is that, so, I think when we read the first Thrawn book, we were wondering, seeing how Thrawn planned everything out and, what his battle strategies were and all of that. We were wondering, I think, is Thrawn unique among Chiss in the way his brain works? And the answer is no. Which I thought was really interesting. Like, they're all like this.
Yeah, it does seem like that's part of why I'm so interested in treason, because it seems like we're going to get a lot more of the ascendancy based on what we know from Del Rey so far.
Yeah.
At least knowing about them and knowing we know we're going to get Eli back, so one would assume that also means we're going to get some Admiral Aralani.
Yes.
Also,
More blue boys.
Also, my headcanon is that when Thrawn handed the children over to Admiral Aralani, Aralani came down to the hangar bay with Commander Vanto just like standing at her side, and they shared like a very meaningful nod.
Aw.
Thrawn and Eli.
That'd be good.
Aww.
It's my headcanon.
Just off camera.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be nice.
But anyway, so like, yeah, like I feel like he may be, unique in his skill set. Like he may be, he may be like the best of the Chiss. Who knows?
Yeah, but their brains are all, what Anakin Vader sense in his brain. That's this weird, orderly opaqueness.
Yes.
They're all like that. Which
Yes.
is so interesting. Should we backpedal a bit to the thing I mentioned?
Yes.
Okay. So, Force-sensitive Chiss, only in children, and it kind of wears off as they grow older, and it's usually girls.
Yes. Usually. Thrawn noted carefully
Yes.
with a wistful look in his eye.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, see, all right. Hang on a second. Let's talk about them generally before we get to talking about Thrawn and the Force and stuff. So, I thought it was interesting. Like, I was like the only thing they can do with the Force is have like foresight, basically. But that's it. Like, it doesn't sound like they can, float rocks or anything like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it seems like their powers are significantly more limited than the Jedi.
And I wonder why that is, because it's still the Force.
Well, so here's what I want to know, though.
Okay.
Because that skill set seems very similar to one Anakin Skywalker before he was trained.
Yeah.
Because that was how he pod raced. Like, he saw
Yeah.
things before they happened. That was how he had his reflexes.
Sure.
So, like, I wonder, and, like, I'm going to get dangerously close to trying to science the Force, which isn't a thing anyone should do because it doesn't make sense. And it's all made up and the points don't matter. But, like,
Taking his face.
I wonder if it's something akin to the Force works for them like that because, being in the mortal peril of being in hyperspace and about to crash into something is like such a distress call through the Force, if you will, that it like even the untrained can pick it up. And that's why the Chiss have it, because they just don't have proper training.
Yeah, but Thrawn literally says no amount of training or anything can make them keep their ability.
I mean, I believe that to the extent of whatever training they have offered in the Chiss Ascendancy. Who knows that they're using the same methods the Jedi are.
Yeah, but you shouldn't just... I don't know. We've never seen somebody just quote unquote lose the Force.
Oh, I believe that they lose it. I just
Yeah.
I'm
You're saying the kids can't do anything else besides precognitive whatever because they haven't been trained.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The losing it as they get older, I don't know. But the limitations of the kids' abilities, I am less convinced about. Like,
Yeah.
if there had been a Chiss Padawan, like, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, we know that the Jedi religion was developed over thousands of years, and I assume, like, tweaked here and there to kind of make the training most effective. I mean, that's just, like, how school works.
Yeah. Yes.
But, so, I don't know. I guess I'm somewhere in the middle on that. It was interesting the way, like, Thrawn, like, I don't quite believe Thrawn because, like, Thrawn is so smart that he was like, no amount of training, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, is it just, like, a big blind spot for him because he thinks that, like, whatever the Chiss are doing is the only thing that could be done to train them, like, outside of, to try to develop their abilities. I don't know if
Yeah,
that makes sense, but
it's hard to know because at the point where he says that, he's met Anakin and he knows what's possible.
That's true.
So
That's an excellent
Also,
point.
like he's seen him float things with his brain.
he drags the Jedi so hard.
Yeah, no,
You
that's an
aren't
excellent
as
point.
totally inept as most of the Chiss legends have it.
Oh god, so good.
But this is where, Thrawn is, so far in the canon, kind of the perfect narrator, right? Because he is so dispassionate and he doesn't let his personal views get in the way. Like, he just reports the facts as he sees them.
Right.
Like, to an annoying degree. But I wonder, kind of getting into the next point briefly, and then we'll cut back to the other point that you made about celestial navigation, Kate. Mm-hmm. Because I want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Tim Zahn made very clear that Thrawn was having unpleasant memories of some sort when talking about Chiss Force sensitives.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if okay, so the question you have here is Thrawn or was Thrawn Force sensitive?
Yes. And to just finish that previous thought, is that clouding his understanding of this?
Of what?
Of this phenomenon? Is his experience or his failure to keep his Force sensitivity into his older age making him be like, well, I couldn't do it, nobody can. Or, if it wasn't him, whoever.
Right. Yeah, that is a question. It's just interesting because there is some, like, hurt and bitterness there, and I wonder if it's because, Thrawn seems to have a lot of empathy for the Chiss children that they're rescuing. Like, they're really, really, really important to him.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just because they're Force sensitive. I think it's because they're children. And, I think, the way he describes how the Chiss view these kids is that they're tools, like, we don't have good navigational systems, so we're going to have these kids. And he says that they're, quote unquote, cast aside, whether that means they're killed or what. Chris and I were kind of talking back and forth about this. Like, it's not really clear. But, they're used for their ability and then they're, like, cast aside. And it's just... And he seems to deeply empathize with that. I couldn't tell, though, when he was, clearly having those unpleasant memories, whether they were memories of himself or, like, if he had a sister or something. That was my first thought, was it was a sibling.
Yeah. Or a child.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was my other
Yeah.
thought, too.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
And that's the question, right? Like, clearly someone in Thrawn's life has been Force sensitive. I think that subtext is fairly clear.
Yeah, whether it's himself or somebody else.
Yeah. Like, somebody in his relatively close sphere. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so, like, looking at some of the textual evidence that we have, obviously we have the fact that he can solve every fucking mystery. He, then explains it logically, which is fine, but that doesn't, it's hard to tell if that is an extension of the Force that is still just latent in him until we see other Chiss. Mm-hmm. Like, because we still, we haven't actually seen any other Chiss to a significant degree.
Exactly.
So, like, we don't know if that's just if all Chiss are Sherlock Holmes or if he is truly special and if that is something that the Force is providing. Mm-hmm. And then the second thing is when he and Anakin are first on Batuu and they're having that shootout with the smugglers when they, mention Mokiv and the Separatists are like, oh shit, now we have to kill these guys. We see something that's very small but very interesting. And that is that Anakin is having his double vision, like block up, block down, block left. Mm-hmm. And then he sees himself getting shot and knows that he can't, like, block it in time. And he's like, well, this is going to hurt. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't get shot because Thrawn shoots the guy first. And that would seem to me to be something that Anakin in his own Force vision should have been able to account for. Unless Thrawn also saw it in some version of his own premonition, and that's why he shot the guy.
Yeah, that bit can go either way for me, honestly.
I mean, I think it can go either way. I think it could just as easily be like a throwaway, like, oh, Thrawn's helpful too. But like...
Right, I mean, Thrawn's helpful too.
But I
also,
found it interesting.
And also, you know, we know for a fact that Anakin only sees one version of the future at any given time.
That's true. My thinking is that the one version of the future that Anakin sees, since he is already with Thrawn and already accounting for Thrawn in this battle, should have already therefore accounted for Thrawn shooting that guy.
But he was fucking high on drugs.
Anakin was?
Yeah, wasn't that the part where with the gas?
No, that was later.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, Anakin wasn't high that time. It was a different time.
Was Anakin high on Anakin? Yeah, okay.
So basically, like, is this a breadcrumb or is it a small detail?
Right.
And honestly, I think there's no way to know yet.
And, you know, there's another thing to account for Anakin's pride. Like, how much is he actually thinking that Thrawn is helpful?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So,
like, yeah, there's tons of different variables here. That was just an interesting potential breadcrumb that I saw placed in there.
Yeah, we shall not know until the next book, unfortunately.
Yeah, at least.
If at all.
I know.
Star Wars.
Thrawn 4, Purgles.
Thrawn is Snoke.
Oh my god, stop.
The reason he's so angry at Luke is that Luke made him not blue anymore.
Oh my god.
Purgles. Sorry, I love the space whales.
Me too.
They're so great.
So, in talking about all this Force stuff surrounding Thrawn, one of the interesting things to me is that, like, one of the things that I thought when I was watching Rebels, and then when we were reading the first Thrawn book, is that, you know, and this could be explained either way, whether he was Force sensitive or not, is that he doesn't really understand the Force at all. He knows what it can do because he's met Anakin, but he doesn't ever really seem to account for it when he's planning things. Like, that's why Adelon went so shittily, is because, you know,
Space Moose.
Exactly. Like, he didn't account for, like, weird Force shit happening.
Yeah.
And again, at the very end of Rebels, he did not account for fucking space whales. Mm-hmm. Like, so I don't know if that I don't know what that means anyway, but
I would go a step further and say that in the quote unquote modern timeline, he seems almost hostile to it.
Yes.
Which we don't so much see in his relationships with Vader, because be hostile with Vader at your own fucking risk.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, particularly the one line from him that will always stand out for me is in the season 3 finale of Rebels. Mm-hmm. When they're on Adawan and, like, you kind of hear the Bendu's voice and, like, the thunder and everything, and Thrawn just, like, goes from this unbreakable mentality to just, like, this very darkened expression being like, what Jedi devilry is or something is this? And, like, he pulls it off because it's Thrawn voice. But, but, like, what Jedi trick is this or something? And he seems very upset about
Kaden
it.
in the corner, like, I don't know a fucking thing, my
being
guy.
like, yeah, Jedi.
Just like, I am this cool. Totally.
But
Please tell my children I'm cool.
Yeah, but he seems to be very, like, not curious, not, like, nervous, straight to angry. Mm-hmm. And, like, that I found very interesting.
And he's hardly ever angry.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't really see him
like,
be angry.
We see him
he's
be angry.
He's hardly ever, like, anything.
I know!
We see him be angry there when Constantine fucks up and Space Whales.
Yeah.
And at Price.
Yes.
When she destroys the factory.
Well, that's because I was so dumb.
No, all of these are very valid points in one's life to be angry, but they're the only times we see him angry.
Yeah, that's completely
I was
true.
also mad at Price.
Same. Very mad.
There's lots of reasons to be mad at her.
Kate was purely mad over the factory destruction.
Oh, yeah. Just the factory.
That was it.
Kate is a TIE Defender stan. For those who don't know.
Obviously.
I actually am a TIE Defender stan. Also, I love how Vader's a TIE Defender stan.
Yeah, that was the best thing ever.
He was like, zoom, zoom, this fun.
Oh my god. I was sitting on the couch and reading, and I just turned to Chris and I'm like, Chris, did they just put Vader in a fucking TIE Defender? And I was just like screaming.
I also love that he's like, you need to make this easier to fly. People are stupid.
I know.
Yes.
It's like, make it so Vader zoomies.
He's not wrong, though. Like, I feel like he's crashed enough ships to know that people are stupid.
I mean, he's led plenty of squadrons into combat.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Both as Anakin and as
So-
Vader.
Yeah.
It was so exhausting how much Vader hates past Anakin. Like, can we just...
I mean, you think it's exhausting. Imagine having to live with it internally for 19 years.
Oh my fucking god.
I know. Oh my god. Like, ugh.
Or imagine having
It's
to
just-
work under him.
I know. Oh my god. He has like the least patience of like anyone in the Star Wars universe.
I mean, yeah.
You can definitely see how Palpatine would be able to just so easily just like roll his eyes and twist Vader's emotions without even trying, which like leads to, I think, some of what we've talked about in the past, some of the tension between Palpatine and Vader.
Sure. So just going back to the point.
Yes.
If you
that
don't-
we got way off of.
if
Yes.
you don't mind. So, how much do we think Thrawn actually understands about the Force? Because going into this book, I would have told you very little. But after reading this book, I don't really know anymore. Just because
I think he understands more than we thought he did.
definitely.
I think he understands more than we know.
Yeah.
I don't think he fully understands it.
Okay.
And I don't
'Cause
think
his
he really
failure to
knows
plan
what
for
he
it.
knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his and that could be what makes him angry, like to the Rumsfeldian unknown of the Force. Like he has no idea how deep this goes.
Sure. And because it's so unpredictable, he can't account. I think I've said this before, but I think part of the reason why he hates it is because he can't fucking account for it.
I mean, as I said, the Force can't be scienced, and I think that pisses Thrawn off.
Yeah. Totally.
Thrawn loves science. He built his whole life and situation on understanding everything forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Absolutely. He's kind of like Galen in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
He could. There's no reason he
Galen
can't meet
or so.
Galen or come into we know he's gonna meet Krennic.
Ooh, that'd be fun. All right. So zooming out again on this Force shit. So children navigating ships. Oh dear, but also we have seen this before actually. In Star Wars, at least in the current canon, we have seen it before in Rebels. When Kanan and Ezra have to navigate all this ship full of poor schmucks to through the unknown regions to Lyrasan, which is the original homeworld of the Lasats.
Well, it's not Kanan and Ezra. It's Zeb who navigates them.
Yeah, but they have to be part of it.
Oh yeah, yes, everybody is.
What
but-
I'm saying is, we hadn't before seen a single motherfucker be able to do it by themselves.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Which, as you do with these kids, or with Vader doing it himself. And then, I don't know. It was...
Yo, that was wild.
I know!
When Vader was doing it, he's like, "Come back, my lord," and he's like, "I didn't go anywhere. Fuck off, Thrawn." I'm like, "Oh my god, why do you have to be so grumpy all the fucking time?" I know.
Why are
you
you in my
don't
room?
have
I
any
know I invited you,
limbs,
but why are you in my room?
He's like, at least he kicked everybody out. Fucking Christ.
Good, because I didn't want to murder anybody right now anyway.
True life, though, that bit where Pharaoh was just you wouldn't, he's got all that, armor on and his helmet and stuff, you wouldn't know if that guy was taking a nap in there. And I was just...
Oh my god.
I got to the end of the bit where, Vader's doing the navigation, and, he's, deep in wherever he is, and I'm just like, did all that exertion literally just make him fall asleep? Is he actually taking a nap in there right now? Unclear. I'm sure he's not, but also, it'd be funny.
It's a Force nap, okay?
I more just loved Pharaoh being like, making fun of Vader thoughts. Fuck.
I know.
That is so relatable.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I related with them the most.
Oh my god, she's so great.
But yeah, and the other thing about celestial navigation is just kind of an interesting take on the Force that yes, Zeb did need Kanan and Ezra to kind of channel the Force.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair to say that Zeb was like the main vessel when navigating to Lyrasan.
I mean, it was his fucking bow rifle, but yeah.
Right, but like his
Sure.
bow rifle's not special.
You don't know what's in that thing.
Magical force sensitive bow rifle.
I was like, I don't know, maybe there's kyber crystals in there. I don't actually know what it's made of.
I mean, that's true. We don't. My thinking was just that it's like we all know that, or we've talked about how in the past we think force sensitivity is more of a spectrum than a yes or no question, and like I fully believe it's within the capabilities of the force as laid out to just be like, in this specific moment, I need you specifically to lead your people, so here you go.
Moses.
Yeah, very prophetic.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure. Interesting.
Did you just say the force is in the Bible? That's what I thought you said.
no, I said very prophetic.
No, I said the force is in the Bible. You said Moses. Moses was using the force.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were asking me like a literal... I thought you were asking me if I literally said the words, the force is in the Bible, to which I
No.
said, no, you misheard me. Point-wise, you're
No.
correct.
Moses was force sensitive.
That's awesome.
You heard it here first,
mean-
folks.
I don't even hate that. This is great.
God's chosen people.
Get out of here.
Pwah, pwah, pwah.
Oh my fucking god. Anyway, shall we talk about Thrawn's motivations? Y'all.
Yes, we should.
Yes.
Yes.
Can somebody explain to me what was going on at the end?
What do you mean?
Yeah. What? Yeah. What? I can if you tell me what you mean.
All of it.
I mean, I can
I
read
was
you the
very-
book, Kristen.
I was very confused about, as always, something in the book confused me. I was very confused about like the Grisk, Chiss like interweaving and like what Vader was, like accusing Thrawn of.
Oh yeah, I can take this because it's
Thank you.
confusing and it took me through to the second read and I like read it carefully the first time I read it too. So basically, the question overall is Thrawn obviously saves the day, but he sends that message to the Grisks, like being like, you know, stop advancing or you will be destroyed. And Vader then thinks that he is disloyal to the Empire and only looking out for the Chiss ascendancy. And Thrawn, the entire book, is, you know, porque no los dos.
Yes. Porque no bofa.
Porque no bofa. But basically, Vader getting to the point where he can kind of like understand Thrawn's maneuverings a little more is he sees that Thrawn introduces himself to the Grisks not as Grand Admiral Thrawn of the Galactic Empire, but as Admiral Mithron Urodo. And that does a couple things. One, to bolster Thrawn's point, it tells the Grisks that they're being attacked by a Chiss. And because of the Grisks' cultural bias, they see the enemy in front of them as the enemy that they need to attack. They don't deal in subtlety. They deal in brute force.
The closer boys.
Yes, the closer boys are the danger boys.
Thank you. Listen.
Yes.
But then what Vader realizes is, oh, I saw another ship escaping that was not a Grisk ship. And what Vader sees in that is, what if the Grisks have already infiltrated the Chiss ascendancy and there are Chiss informing the attack on the Empire, essentially. And so, like, Vader's like, was that a message for the Grisk, or was that a message for the other Chiss that you're onto them? And like, again, you're helping yourself, not the Empire.
And he's like, why not?
Yeah,
both
and he's
of
again
us?"
Yes.
like, porque no los dos.
Yes.
And so it is this question of how far have the Grisks infiltrated? And, you know, I think we're gonna get some definitive answers on that in Treason from Eli.
Right.
It sounds like from the blurb that Delray has released.
Right. Like, now that we have a suspicion of this, it's treason from both sides, right? It's Thrawn leaving the Empire to go back to the Chiss, and it's the Chiss betraying other Chiss
Yeah.
to go with the Grisks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Theoretically.
just as alliances had multiple meanings in this book, I think treason is gonna. It's not just gonna be Thrawn doing a should I stay or should I go.
Right. It's book titles.
They are well thought out.
It's a symbol.
Unlike article titles.
Yeah, so true. Oh my god.
Sorry.
Oh, fire headline writers.
Oh my god.
Headline writers.
So bad.
Poor writers. They're like, we painstakingly researched this, and it's like a perfect article, and just editors are like,
you did this.
That's like
We're
one of my
gonna
biggest
name
pet
it
peeves when people like
poopy,
shit
poop,
on
poop, poop.
journalists
know.
on Twitter.
What?
And being like, this is a shitty headline that like isn't reflective of the facts, and they're like, can you read the fucking article? I know, I didn't write the headline.
Right.
I know. It's not my fault. Sorry, that was a slight off topic.
Yeah, right.
But what?
Sorry.
Well, okay. So putting all this together, what are Thrawn's motivations? I don't know.
I mean, it's hard. Like, I don't think we have a direct response to that yet because
it's hard because like he joined the Empire to bolster the strength of the Chiss ascendancy,
yes,
and now he's trying to help both. So it's like, how many points are in this column and how many points are in this column?
yeah, it's a very tight balancing act that he's playing right now.
Right, and he's leaning real hard towards the Chiss, let's be real.
Yeah.
Just based on what his fucking mission is, period. Like, he, like, took Eli, who could have been, you know, a promising, I don't know, shipping label printer or whatever the fuck. Like, and just, like, what? And, like, zipped him off to, like, the Chiss ascendancy. Didn't say anything, just be like, bye, motherfucker, I'll pick you up in 6 months. Like, didn't tell anybody about it. And it's just like, you literally took Imperial resources and gave it to the Chiss.
Yeah.
So.
And,
Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, ideologically, it does seem like his primary loyalty is to the Chiss, regardless of what he says to the Emperor. Mm-hmm. But as he and Vader note, that becomes a lot more difficult in practice when he is in the Empire.
For sure.
Like, practically, it is the easiest thing in the world to just abandon the Chiss ascendancy. It is next to impossible, and obviously, we know that this isn't how he dies, necessarily, but a good way to get dead, to betray the Empire.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Although I did enjoy Thrawn being like, I've actually already thought of 3 ways to kill you, but that's neither here nor,
oh my
here nor
God,
there.
Oh my god, it made me laugh so much. Yeah, and you know what? I was just sitting there. You know, 3 ways to kill him: take off his helmet, take off his helmet, take off his helmet.
Right?
Sorry.
Fuck.
Not nice.
Oh my god.
Oh, so we know now that Thrawn got sent to the Anakin planet that he exploded.
Mokeev.
Mokeev to
Anakin planet.
well, all right, you know I'm bad with names and everything.
Honestly,
but-
I just want us to like give away as like a Patreon exclusive one day, just like a Keeks labeled map of the galaxy.
Oh my god, that'd be so good.
That would be very upsetting.
So good. Anyway, Keeks.
Yeah, we would have to include like characters too, because I don't know any of their names either.
As you were saying.
But so we learned that he went to Mokeev to get the like shield generator.
Yes.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But like we also hear a little bit like I think it's right when he's like meeting Anakin or whatever, and he's like telling him that he's not like a military general or something. What we find out just like a tiny little bit more about like Thrawn's place within the Chiss before he comes to the Empire. And I don't really like understand the significance of it.
I think he says he's like a reconnaissance dude or whatever the fuck.
He introduces himself as a commander of the Chiss Ascendancy Imperial Defense, or expanding expeditionary defense something.
Yeah, something like that.
Which
is the most oxymoronic name for anything.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to know what that means without knowing the rest of the hierarchy.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I was like, this is just like a little nugget.
I think like basically what Thrawn's job is basically my worst nightmare, which is that aliens have secretly been watching us the whole time and are just like, these dumb motherfuckers. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Clearly the Chiss and the Grisk both have.
Yeah. So that's creepy.
Also,
Yeah, sorry, I did not think more through what my question was,
fine.
but
No,
I
it's
was
fine.
just wondering. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss any bigger breadcrumbs.
also big pet peeve that the plural of Grisk is Grisks.
Ugh.
It's so hard to say, it should just be Grisk.
Risks is hard to say.
Yes.
Okay. No, it's not.
Anyway,
So, yeah, part of my like point to go under your broader topic of Thrawn's motivations is like what he has to gain by allying with Vader, and I'm like, IDK not getting dead.
mm-hmm.
Oh, I just realized,
What?
sorry, that there is another when Anakin first meets Thrawn for the first time, there's like a child pilot with him.
Yes.
Yes.
Duh.
Navigator.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't introduce his pilot as a real person.
Yeah.
I
A,
know.
because
no, I have my
she
navigator.
has one rule. She has one role, rather.
Mm-hmm.
But B, because that is like the most closely guarded secret of the Chiss ascendancy. That what your pilot is.
Yeah. Awkward child labor.
Yep.
Yay, Star Wars.
Right. But to get back to Thrawn's motivations in this point, like, because like saving the Chiss, yes, it seems like it's a strong motivator. How he's going to balance that with the Empire remains to be seen. But
or not balance it.
or not balance it. But the other question is, excuse me, sorry, I'm yawning.
Fuck you, Chris. Jesus.
Like
That's from the Parmesan.
classic Parmesan yawn. Like, is his own pride also a factor in any of his motivations? Like his like drive to just like get things right.
I don't know what pride is because I have none. Like, don't understand this question. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's part of it, but I don't know. We will find
Yeah.
out.
I just want to know more about Thrawn.
Exactly. As always.
As
always. I want to know more about that.
Yep. I want to know more about Thrawn. I want to see him Sherlock Holmes more things because it's one of my favorite things that we get in the canon now.
Yes. So this is a kind of a side point, non sequitur about Thrawn and Vader, but you know, Vader spends the entire fucking book being like, "Oh my god, he knows who I am. He knows who I am. He knows who I am." And we're just like, "Shut up, Vader!" And then at the end, Thrawn's just like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely Anakin Skywalker." Like, of course I knew that. It's just, I was just laughing at the callback to, how is Padme gonna know that you're here? Padme will recognize my style. His style is talking stupid and breaking things.
Talking stupid, breaking things, and being her husband.
Yep. And Thrawn recognizes all of these things in Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Please send help. I was yelling.
Oh my god. Vader is such a fucking trash baby.
Yes.
He just is. I'm like, I like can't even, him pushing away so much of like his Anakin stuff. I'm like, you know, some of this may have been useful if you didn't just repress the shit out of it, you know?
Nah,
Oh
fuck
yeah.
it.
I mean, that's the thing. And this is a whole discussion that brings a lot of other sources into this, many of them from the Vader Marvel comics that we don't need to talk about now. But like, one thing that I love about this book is that it shows like, because like I feel like the popular culture casual fan view of Vader is that he is this perfect nemesis, right? Like he is all powerful and evil. And he is so fucking broken. He is like hanging on by a thread every day.
Yep.
Like he can barely go 20 minutes.
Yep.
without thinking about the past.
I know.
And like that is how
Trashiest
Palpatine
of all the trash babies.
I know.
and like that's how Palpatine is able to like keep him subordinate.
Right. It's also why he wears his helmet, to hide the fact that he's always crying.
Yeah, exactly. No tears.
Like,
No tears.
no tears left to
Just-
cry.
He's just, no. Yep.
Oh.
But yeah, so that's
a
just like
toaster.
that's one of the aspects of Vader that I find so fascinating, the fact that he is forever broken. And like so that is just always a really interesting aspect of it.
You just relate to that so hard.
He's very
forever
broken.
internally screaming.
He must be wearing a cape at all times, or else he can't function.
I mean, true.
Didn't something happen with his cape? That like insects were attacking him or whatever.
Yes.
the fuck,
Yeah, they
and
had to
like,
cl- they had to
mentioned
clean his
cape
armor.
again.
Yep.
Oh, can we just talk about what a fucking trash can Anakin move? Animating the fucking empty Vader suit was.
Yes. I was
Like, first of all, that was Thrawn's idea.
Yes.
He just recycled Thrawn's idea, which I know is the point, but it's so funny.
It's so good. I mean, I was screaming about it to Chris, and Chris was like, apparently he's gotten better at, making things that are not alive pretend to be walking. And I'm like, well, to be fair, have you seen Vader walk?
Oh my god, I know.
My other favorite thing in that scene is Kimmon going like, "All right, door's clear, time to climb up the ladder. Whoop, guess Vader's in a hurry today. Okay,
I know. Yeah.
Daddy's picking me up today. All right."
Yeah. For real. Just whoop. It's a good old.
Yep. Coming up,
You know, 'cause-
coming up.
It's the long history of throwing small men out the hole.
Yep.
No, I'm serious though. Callus, Han, Kimmon. Life is hard.
Yep.
Sometimes you just like aren't patient. This is just him being impatient again.
I mean, obviously.
I love how it's like when you think about we have Thrawn versus Vader, and we see like both of their kind of direct reports in the Navy, and you're like, God, I would be so bummed if I had to like be on Vader's team and see Thrawn's team operate. It's like he's like, oh my God, they're like, he's like fostering their development.
I know.
He's like coaching them. He's like, what a good boss. Whereas
yes.
like Vader's like, you are dead now. You annoyed me.
I know.
Super dead.
Literally, yes. Like if performance reviews were an actual thing in the Empire, Vader would get like horrible marks from his employees.
Nobody would give Vader his performance review.
Yo.
No. They'd be like, nope, lost it and it lost that form.
Yep.
Sorry.
Nobody's given Vader a performance review since Tarkin died.
Bro.
We are actually going to talk a little bit about this next episode, though, because there's an interesting dynamic to that. Whereas, like, yes, and we can actually use this to kind of transition into Thrawn's place in the Empire, because I know Kate wanted to talk about this, but there's an interesting dynamic to that where, like, Thrawn is such a good, like, caring, like, compassionate, like, committed leader. But he's a fucking alien, man. Like, we see Kimmon to have that reaction.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, so going back to that, and also part of the reason why I think he can't have full loyalty to the Empire, and we talked about this a bit with the first Throne book, but it's because he's an outsider. We know the fact that the Empire is literally racist, speciesist, bigoted, bad.
Rude boys.
They are rude boys.
Real bad rude boys.
Right, and the only reason why Thrawn is able to climb the ranks as quickly as he does and have the trust that, like, from other people that he does is because he is literally better than anyone else at doing the kind of job that he does. And so I tweeted about this a little while ago, more towards when the book first came out, but, you know, there are folks who didn't care for this book, don't care for Thrawn's character, etc., which, like, you're entitled to your opinion. That is fine. However, one of the things that frustrates me is when people complain that Thrawn is, like, too perfect. And, you know, I think maybe, you know, Chris, judging by what you were saying about the original Thrawn trilogy and how his character was presented there, like, that might have been a true criticism then. But the way I see Thrawn being presented in, you know, in the current canon is that it's an immigrant story. Like, he he gets out of the just ascendancy, for what regardless of his motivations, he comes into a world that is completely different from the one that he's used to, especially because he comes from a really homogenous society. Just ascendancy is probably pretty much only just citizens hanging out in there. Hello, squeaker.
Hi.
And he's instantly just like shat on for being a blue boy, basically. And there's a point here in the book where he like, it's either him or Pharaoh who recognizes that like that's what he's had to go through.
It's because I want to talk about this too. It's him when the first time Vader like kind of like goes to him and is like, you're going to tell me what you think is happening now. And Thrawn is like, I would prefer not to do that, because in the past, when I've done that to you white people, like, they don't believe me unless I have proper evidence. And then even when I have the evidence, they say I'm wrong.
Yep. And, just like looking at his background and looking at how hard he's had to try, like what I see is like, just from my personal experience, it's like East Asians coming to America. So it's that same sort of story where, people like my dad, come over to America from China, and they have to be perfect and keep their head down and work hard and all this other stuff, and be the really good model minority and everything to get what they want, or to get their kids into college. Like, they tell their kids that they have to be perfect, they have to get straight A's, they have to get the best scores on everything, and then get into a really good Ivy League school, and that's how you prove yourself, because otherwise you're just a dumb gook. So like it's frustrating to me when people don't look deeper at these things and consider their own biases in terms of like how they're viewing like the lens through which they're reading, because a lot of the complaints that I saw about Thrawn being an annoying character were from white women.
Blah, blah, blah.
To which I was just like, okay, guess I'll go drink now. So
yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, which is like, so I just wanted to point that out, because it's not, as long as Star Wars is still using non-human species as proxies for people of color, you have to remember that.
Yeah.
So, that's my soapbox. As usual,
thank you,
dear white people, fuck you.
Kate is always watching and always disappointed.
Literally, yes.
As she should be.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's why there is this interesting dynamic of Thrawn's loyalty, too. Because, like, why should he have loyalty to the Empire?
Right.
Like, they're not nice to him.
Right.
The Emperor's just using him for his knowledge. He's smart enough to know that.
Yep.
Like, so it's like...
Yeah, no, I mean, as much as the kids are tools for, like, navigating ships, he's a tool of the Empire. And that's how Vader describes him. The Emperor has use for him, so I'm not going to fucking strangle him to death.
Absolutely. And, like, for every Eli who, like, really comes to respect him, there's those kids in the academy who tried to, like, get him kicked out because they didn't like him. Or there's...
I'm gonna get a 40-year-old man kicked out of high school, guys.
I know, right? Seriously.
That's very funny.
I know.
There's that. Or there's Kimmond, who doesn't like him because he's an alien.
Yeah.
And is, like, very, like, upset about the fact that he is going to die for alien lives.
Yes.
Like, so there's a real
and again,
tension.
Right. And again, like, something that we saw in Thrawn, we've seen in other Star Wars books, is that Imperials, they refer to them as aliens. Like, not as non-humans, but as, like, aliens. It's not that you're not just negating them, you're also putting them over there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, it wasn't
Also,
non-Imperial
like,
lives, it was alien lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, like, very rude that Thrawn is so good at his job, and they're just such pieces of shit to him.
I mean...
It just makes me really mad.
I mean...
I know that's, like, life.
Yes. I was about to say, like, that's just mad fucking real. It's like how I applied to grad school last year, and I didn't write about, my immigrant parents having a hard fucking time coming over from old country, and so I didn't get in anywhere.
Sorry, I don't know how to move on from that, but we're at the end of the outline. So here we go.
Anyway.
Thanks for listening.
Yay!
To this cheerful, sick-filled episode of the Book Wars Pod. Next episode, we're going to be wrapping up Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn. Probably giving away a copy. Yeah. Of Thrawn by Timothy Zahn, the first book.
Yeah.
In this series.
Yep.
And then our next book in a couple episodes from now is going to be Leia, Princess of Alderaan by Claudia Gray. We're very excited for this one. YA Leia novel takes place when she is 16. It's amazing because it's Claudia Gray.
And just because it's YA, don't sleep on this one. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, just remember Lost Stars.
Just remember that YA
So fucking good.
YA period is
Just
a valuable
yes.
category of book.
Yes.
For Christ's sakes.
Yes. In the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr. Book Wars Pod at all those platforms. bookwarspod@gmail.com to email us. Rate, review, and subscribe to both us and the Tosche Station Radio Mega Feed. And when you leave a full review on iTunes, you are automatically entered to win many prizes, one of which is the aforementioned copy of Thrawn by Timothy Zahn. Also, donate to the Tosche Station Radio Patreon and give to us on Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. Thanks to a couple donations from, one of them was from Shannon. Who was the other one from?
Megan.
Thanks to a couple very generous donations on Ko-fi from our listener Shannon Joy 26 and
At 6 Moments on Twitter.
at 6 Moments
Megan
on Twitter.
Kennedy.
Megan Kennedy. I don't know people's handles.
I know.
I don't know characters' names.
Great.
Truth. But anyway, we are that much closer, but still a little bit away from being able to provide some buttons and stuff for Star Wars Celebration, so we hope that you will give to us as you're able. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joby Terror Design. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Book Wars Pod. For Kate and Kristen, I'm Chris, and we will talk to you next week.
Okay. But... Oh, Jesus. Oh, Chris, you're saying to squeak here the whole fucking time?
Hey, he's been really well behaved.
Fuck me.